Thank you so much for having me this evening. It is nice to see all of you. My name is Dr. Mary Elizabeth Hinton. I have been in this position for about 2 years now with the Lexington Philharmonic. Prior to that, I taught fourth through 12th grade orchestra for about 12 years in both the public school and the private school. And I decided to take a career shift when I was finishing up my PhD and haven't looked back since because this job is pretty awesome. Can everyone see my slides? Okay, great. So, let's first talk about the mission of the Lexington Philharmonic. We like to foster excellence and innovation in performance and presentation of great music. We want to enrich the lives of our diverse citizenry. That includes both K-12 and lifelong learners and our community who loves live music. We want to educate current and future audiences and bring distinction to our community throughout the orchestra's presence and standing. We were originally named the Central Kentucky Philharmonic Society, then the Lexington Philharmonic Orchestra. We were created in 1961 to provide background music for a film produced by the Department of Agriculture at the University of Kentucky. The orchestra was made of about 65 volunteers, and many of them who were faculty and students at surrounding colleges and universities. This includes the University of Kentucky, Morehead State University, Eastern Kentucky University, and graduates of the Central Kentucky Youth Orchestras. The first season for the Lexington Philharmonic consisted of three concerts, all performed at Henry Clay High School, and the cost of the full season subscription was just $5 per adult to 50 per student and 12.50 per family. Today, we provide more than 200 concerts, education, and community programs every year, engaging communities across the region and reaching thousands of students in the schools. With educational programming such as the Discovery Concert, instrument petting zoos, teaching artists, and in-school programs, we reach beyond the traditional realms of the orchestral music presentation to provide innovative and exciting opportunities in music across the bluegrass. So I'm sure you want to know exactly what we do, and I will specifically tell you about the programs that we provide in learning and partnership. Our school programs include residencies that are either a semester or the whole year. We also provide summer residencies, and then we provide workshops throughout the school year. We have some community partnerships, both with the school systems, with the public libraries, and with the Lexington senior performance areas. Because we are not limited to just K-12, we also provide creative aging programs. These include the OLLI residencies, residencies at assisted living communities, and partnerships with the Kentucky Arts Council and the Senior Center. We used to call it the petting zoo, but now we call it the music lab. That is our instrument petting zoo, along with the Makey Makey. I don't know if you know what a Makey Makey is, but I have a slide that will show you what it is. And then we revamped some of our programs after COVID. A few that include are the open rehearsal, pre-concert performances. And then last but not least, I'll dive a little bit into some of the grant writing that we do for these programs. So the Lexington Philharmonic seeks to support the mission and work of Central Kentucky schools through arts-based learning experiences. When students make original art, not only do they recognize their artistic capabilities and identities, but students also see themselves as meaning makers, knowledge generators, and agents of change. Our school programs are for both elementary, middle, and high school. These When we go out and talk to the principals and the music teachers, we ask them what are their needs for their schools, and we ask how can we fill those needs or gaps. Some of the schools that we work at, there is a music teacher, and so we work side by side with them on maybe something that they are not the most comfortable teaching, such as like ukulele, maybe Orff instruments, or sometimes we specialize in like a club per se. Here you can see one of our musicians working with students for sectionals. So it truly just depends on what the school is looking for. It's not a one size fits all, as all of you know. So our current elementary school programs are included at Ashland Elementary, which we are doing an Orff residency this semester. We will go there once a week and work with these students there on their current Orff instruments. We have a teaching artist who will go there and work with the teacher as well to meet the needs of the students. And at the end of the semester, they will give a live performance at one of the gallery hops that the community has. Next, we have three residencies at Breckenridge Elementary through a generous grant. One of them is a drumming residency. Our a different teaching artist, Dave Ferris, he goes every week to work with second and third graders on group drumming. And he works side by side with that music teacher there. We also were asked to present two different clubs, one of them being drumming again for fourth and fifth graders, and then the other one was ukulele club for fourth and fifth graders as well. These clubs meet once a week for 8 weeks, both in the fall and the spring. And luckily, they have a set of ukuleles there. We've also written some grants to help provide ukuleles for other residencies that might be using the same instrument. For the two clubs, Dave Ferris is by himself, and he has a different group of students every semester as well. At Harrison Elementary, we also are doing group drumming. And then at Meadowthorpe, we are doing another drumming class. Last year at Meadowthorpe, we did ukuleles for the whole year. And then at Harrison, we've done drumming in the past. If you have a question, you're more than welcome to unmute. I can barely see the chat. It just kind of pops down and then disappears. So you're welcome to interrupt me. I will not be offended. Okay.
Oh, unmute, mute. Okay. Uh, I
Yes.
saw a question in the chat and they were asking, do you go to schools with no music programs?
Yes. Thank you for asking. So, for example, at Meadowthorpe, they were actually transitioning between having a new music teacher, and so therefore there wasn't a music teacher for a while. So yes, we were providing some extra services. Last year, however, we were actually hired to provide enrichment for their gifted and talented program. There have been other schools where there might have been a music teacher, maybe not slated for that year. So we provided a residency that was after school. It truly depends on the principal and what their budget is. So some of these residencies, such as Ashland and Breckenridge, are during the school day. Harrison is right at the end of the school day.
So, I mean, I don't mean to bring up cost or anything like that,
No,
but
you're good.
what are you talking as far as cost per residency or
So we charge 200 a workshop or a class. And so, if that's one semester, about 12 weeks, that's $2,400. Um, and we usually work with the school to figure out, if there's some sort of agreement for budget, like if they can only pay us half a semester and then the other half. I also really like to write grants. And so I'll explain in some of my future slides how we were able to get funding to be able to do some of these residencies as well. Great question. Okay, so I started talking about this at Breckenridge. Like I said, we had three opportunities. We have a drumming residency that occurs in the morning on Fridays, and then we have two clubs that occur in the afternoon on Fridays. Luckily, the three residencies that we have at this school were covered by an NEA grant that Fayette County was awarded. We helped provide some of the language for that grant, and we've already done a few residencies with some of these elementaries. And so the schools that were awarded the funding, they reached out to us this year to come back, which was very generous. Um, we love sharing music with students and helping them grow as young musicians. The This particular drumming residency gave the students a chance to explore rhythm, learn new beats, and practice playing together as a group. Sometimes it was in a classroom, sometimes it was in the library. It just depends on what was available to the school and for us. Let's see, is it the National Endowment for the Arts? Yes, it was the National Education Association. And how far do we travel for schools? Usually we travel within a 30-mile radius. One of our teaching artists gave a drumming workshop in the Franklin County school systems back in the fall for 2 days. And sometimes we do have to travel, or excuse me, we do have to charge a little extra if it's beyond a particular, mileage, just because we are based in Lexington and the majority of our teaching artists live in Lexington. Okay. Just trying to see if there's anything else I could catch in the chat. Okay, and again, you're welcome to interrupt me if you would like. So at Tates Creek High School, this is where we utilize some of the grants that are out there. Has anyone heard of the Les Paul Foundation or the Les Paul Grant? Okay, well, me either until last year. So this was fun to explore. The Les Paul Foundation inspires innovative and creative aging by sharing the legacy of Les Paul through the support of music education, recording, innovation, and medical research related to hearing. Awards grants to programs and projects that encourage innovation in music production and or performance, and to innovate STEAM and STEM programs for students and other challenging situations. So, the orchestra director at Tates Creek High, we used to work together. He approached me and he was just like, Mary Elizabeth, I would really like to do something else besides just follow the orchestra curriculum that I do. And I was like, well, you do have this technology. We found that Soundtrap was available. It's reasonably priced, excuse me. It's about $300 for a 50-person subscription. And so I reached out to Les Paul, told him that we would like to teach students how to create background tracks to their own composition and with the use of Soundtrap. And they were like, sounds great. And so we were awarded the Les Paul grant, which is about $2,000. And it has helped us be able to buy the Soundtrap membership, any production and or sound equipment we have needed. And the students have made various tracks last semester for now the main melody composition for this semester, and then they will present it at their final concert. We are bringing in our production manager to help them with the sound, And they have brought in not only instruments that they play in orchestra for violin, viola, cello, or bass, but as you can see, they bring like a mini keyboard. One person brought in a partial drum set, and they just created tracks using Soundtrap. I would like to note that you can use Soundtrap in the school system. It is approved. I know that there was the policy passed where you can't use communication platforms, like through texting, etc. The group chat part of Soundtrap is um, discontinued or disconnected, so it is approved. You just have to let your district know that you're using it. The other grant that we applied for at Tates Creek, we've applied for it the last 2 years, is the Big Ideas Grant, which is solely available for Fayette County schools, but there are equivalent grants out there, and I will explain in a minute. So, the purpose of the Big Ideas Grant is to fund unique, innovative projects that enhance student learning and engagement. Anyone can apply who's a teacher, if you are a teacher with a program, or public schools within Fayette County Public Schools, including specials and interrelated teachers. Um, the teacher approached me last year and was just like, Mary Elizabeth, I'm not very good at grant writing, but this is what I want to do with my orchestra program. And he wanted specifically to provide sectionals for his orchestra, meaning that he wanted to bring in a violinist, a violist, a cellist, and a bassist to work with each section of his orchestras. And so the first year, we used some of our teaching artists to come in and work with his students. And then this year, we've been able to use Lexington musicians to come in and work with his students. So same thing, it's about 200 a workshop. That's pretty much like our flat rate for whatever the workshop may be. And then we also budgeted buying some music for their in performance for his last concert in May. So, does anyone have any questions about either one of these grants or what we are doing with the high schools or elementaries? Okay. So, besides residencies, we also offer one-off workshops. They can be multiple days, but they're usually just one day. And I try to reach out to the schools, both in Fayette County and surrounding. So, we went to Fayette County, Madison County, Woodford County, Franklin County. We've been to Scott County. And if any of the others come to my mind, I will tell you. But this year, it's been a special year because it's the 250th anniversary for Lexington. And so we had our 250 Lex concert in September, and we had several artists, including Ben Sollee and our former composer in residence, Sean O'Pebolo, who is also a Taste Creek alum. This was fantastic for us because we were able to get them out into the schools. We were provided funding through the Lexington Urban County government to be able to get these guest artists not only to play with our Philharmonic, but to get them out into the schools. And so Ben performed for Lafayette High School. He performed for Henry Clay High School, Lafayette being his alma mater. And then we also took him to Dunbar. And then Sean O'Pebolo, we took him to Tates Creek High, which he was very thrilled about. We took him to Bryan Station High School, and then we also took him to Bryan Station Middle School. Our composer in residence this year is Brittany Green. Brittany and our conductor, Melise Brunet, will be going to Fayette County Public Schools in February to give a workshop to all of the high school gifted and talented students identified in music. and they will give a presentation on just music composition, what it's like to be a modern composer, and what it's like to be a female composer and female conductor. So we are looking forward to this opportunity. I was able to provide this one through a grant, or excuse me, a proposal I wrote to a foundation. Um, the nice thing about guest artists is usually you can ask them to provide an educational opportunity in their contract. So that's how we were able to get Spencer Murray, our guest pianist, from our Witching Hour concert in October, and then Ty Murray, our guest violinist, from our Heart Song November concert. Last year, we Tony Wavy, who is a hip hop Picasso artist here in Lexington. He actually toured all of the high schools in Lexington, again, through a generous donation through a foundation located in Lexington. Um, he went in and talked about how Stravinsky and hip hop have a connection together. So the students got to listen to his own music and how it related to the Rite of Spring, since that was our finale concert last year. And then he showed them how to sample and create some beats. And so some of the schools with the allotted extra time were able to try to create some lyrics to some of his samples. The students found it, totally different than anything you would experience from a Philharmonic or just an orchestra, band, or choir class. So we were able to reach out ahead of time and have all of the arts, not just the orchestra program, attend. Rachel Martin, our principal bassist, played a bass concerto for our finale concert as well. Has anyone ever heard of bass concerto? Probably not because it's not very popular, but she is phenomenal. And so same thing, we took her out into the schools and she was able to demonstrate some excerpts of the concerto. And then last but not least, we have an assistant conductor now. Their name is Damali William, and they went out and gave some workshops with the full orchestra programs in the area. So they're not just our workshops, excuse me, workshops are not limited to just orchestra. We give several GT workshops. We try to bring our guest artists into the classroom, whether it's at a university or in the public school system, because again, we are able to ask them to provide one or two services within their contract. If it's not in their contract, we've been able to find funding to help get them into the schools. And then our fearless leader, Melise Brunet, loves to come out into the schools and meet the students. Um, Unfortunately, she doesn't live here in Lexington, so it's usually one school per semester, but she is at Dunbar preparing them for KMEA assessment. Damali is with us several times this year. And so this fall, we had Damali go to Henry Clay High School, Bryan Station High School, and Frederick Douglass High School. Um, each orchestra director gave us the scores ahead of time. We shared them with Damali, and then Damali worked with them for a couple hours, depending on the class, through the music that each school was preparing for a concert or like a high stake performance. And then our guest artist, Ty Murray, who is the adjunct professor at Yale University, gave two master classes, one at EKU and one at UK. And here she is telling the student, some feedback about his performance that he gave to her. It was very fascinating to watch how she interacted with the students. All of them seemed very appreciative of the opportunity. And again, most of these artists are teaching in some sort of capacity, so they are willing to go out into the schools and work with other students. Last but not least, in the schools, we like to bring our music lab. Like I said, it was formerly named the Instrument Petting Zoo, but now it's the Music Lab because it's a portable studio that combines electronic and acoustic instruments and other technology for a fun, hands-on experience that provides opportunities for participants of all ages and abilities to make music while simultaneously learning about the science of sound and electricity. The music lab is great for classrooms, after school programs, community centers, senior centers, libraries, tables or booths at community events, and more. Uh, Sometimes we go to the schools to do a STEAM night. Here, I last night was talking to a Girl Scout troop. They are coming to our Beatles concert next week, and they wanted to see everything they could about the music, the instruments of the Philharmonic, and just the music lab itself. And by doing so, they were able to complete a badge that they needed. And then we have our music lab now set up at every concert that we have. Let's see. Can someone, oh, sorry. I thought it was a question for me. Um, our music lab events are anywhere between 1 hour to maybe 4 hours. Next week, we're going to a STEM night that will be about 2 hours long. We've also participated at the local libraries for 2 to 3 hours. It just depends on what exactly you want to do with the music lab. And this is our fun piece of the music lab. It's called the Makey Makey. You can't see the little device, but it almost looks like a Raspberry Pi, if anybody knows what that is. It's like a little mini computer. But we hook all of these wires up to the Makey Makey into a computer using Logic Pro. And basically, if the student holds the aluminum ball right there as she is, and then tap your hand on the lemons and limes or whatever, uh, piece of food you would like to use, it creates a circuit through your body. I usually have it set on a keyboard because that's a familiar sound to the kiddos. But you can change it to whatever you want using Logic Pro. I also use lemons and limes because they hold up really well. Some of the kids like to slam them, hit them, whatever, but you can use potatoes. I've seen people use leaves and flowers. They just don't always hold up well for a long event. Um, let's see if I can, can't really see, but we also have some automatones that the students use. You can buy them off of Amazon, but you can change the pitch of the automaton and you just hold the mouth open. You might have seen them on YouTube or social media. And then basically you press along like the body of the automaton and it creates this like kind of vibrant sound. We have some violins, violas, and cellos that were donated to us last year by a local music shop that we take in. We have several percussive instruments. I did have a working trumpet, but I had a kid accidentally drop it, and the mouthpiece is just like jammed, and some of the valves are jammed. So until we get another one, c'est la vie, right? We also have some auto harps for students to play on, and yeah, pretty much whatever people have donated to us over the years and are, still holding up, that's what we take to the music lab. I do not take any woodwind instruments. It's really hard to keep up with a large group and having to clean it constantly. So we've just eliminated them for now. Sometimes we bring it with us if we know it's going to be a small group and we have extra volunteers to help clean the instrument before someone else uses it. But yes, one of our concerts is called Symphonic Stroll, and this is where we dissect the orchestra instead of having all of them on a stage. We go out to the Josephine Sculpture Park in Frankfurt every fall, and we will have like a bass duo or a string quartet or a woodwind quintet. But then we always encourage the kiddos to come because we have the music lab set up and a scavenger hunt to go find all the other groups. So that's why this girl looks so delighted. Um, yes, we love the sculpture park too. Okay, so that's enough for now about K-12 because guess what? We all graduate, we move on, and then we have that bridge that we need to connect to lifelong learning. And I think it's worth talking about because your students eventually get out of your programs and they go to college or maybe not go to college for music ed, and they're like, but I still want to play my instruments. Well, there are plenty of opportunities to still play, and we try to provide those opportunities. Um, Specifically, we have some creative aging programs, which is for adult learners 50 and older. This includes the OLLI residencies, residencies in assisted living communities, and then partnerships with the Kentucky Arts Council and the Senior Center. Um, so we have brought some of our members, like a woodwind quintet or a string quartet, to perform at the Charles Young Center, the Lexington Senior Center, partners of Centerwell, and then OLLI, which is the Lifelong Learners Institute. We also do some partnerships with Fayette County Public Schools and the Lexington Public Libraries. And if you're unsure of what the OLLI program is, it is a part of the University of Kentucky. It's a membership program for adults 50 and older, offering non-credit educational courses, social events, trips, and interest groups for intellectual, social, and personal enrichment, funded partly by the Bernard Osher Foundation. It provides a vibrant community for continued learning without grades, focusing on engagement, well-being, and connecting with peers. The targeted range is for 50 and older. There's an offer of wide range of classes, which we have been really honing in on music performance classes. And I have to say, it's a lot of fun. It reminds me of teaching fourth and fifth graders. They have just enough fine motor skills to be dangerous, but they are inquisitive and are willing to learn because they've been away from school for, longer than we could imagine. Some of the programs that we offer are music composition, mountain dulcimer, ukulele, and beginner violin. So we used to have something called Meet, Play, Learn, and that was when we would have students come during the concert cycle week, and they would get to be able to sit in like an open rehearsal or a particular rehearsal before the concert. It was kind of a pay as you will, not a whole lot of structure, so we revamped it to open rehearsal. And or excuse me, I send out an invitation through the CKYO newsletter and through Fayette County Public Schools and to our homeschool cooperatives that have worked with us in the past, offering for high schoolers and college students to come and participate. The students are given the musical parts based on their primary instrument. Excuse me. They have to fill out a form prior saying that, they will attend because we can only have about 20 people come to this event because it is very tight on the stage, especially, if we're playing Mahler, Stravinsky when we had close to 90 musicians at Singletary. So they're given the parts to follow along. They are given guided notes that I write based on the pieces that they're going to perform in that rehearsal. And the students actually sit on stage next to a musician of their primary instrument. Um, and I have gotten nothing but positive feedback about this. Um, oop, sorry. As you can see in the front row, there's some violinists. Over here, some cellists. Behind the string musicians, there were several clarinetists and trumpet players. Um, and again, they are there with their guided notes. I have one student who's the very far right. He always brings his own score. He wants to be a composer, and so he signs up pretty much every time for open rehearsal and follow along with his score. And Melise, the conductor, usually will ask them some questions or, just engage with them at the end of the rehearsal. So they come in, they know that they cannot have, their cell phones out. They have to sign a waiver so they can participate and we can take their picture. But they sit up there for an hour and a half. And, the first time we did it, I was like, I don't know if they're going to be okay without their phones for that long, but they were. And if you stay the whole time and you fill out a survey giving me some feedback, because who doesn't like data, then I send them a link to some comp tickets for the concert cycle that they're sitting in. So it's a win-win for all of us. The other thing that we offer now is a pre-concert performance. And basically, that's just every concert cycle that we have at Singletary. I invite a high school orchestra, like a string quartet here. I've invited a wind ensemble. Bryan Station High School is playing at our Beatles concert next week, and they have the opportunity to provide about 25 minutes of pre-concert music of their choice. When I taught in the school system, I made some gig books for my high school students of like grade 1 through grade 3 music, something that they could pick up easily. And we would go and perform in the community for like a low stake performance opportunity. And so that is what this is supposed to be for them, just to kind of showcase their school talents. And again, if they participate, then we offer them comp tickets. And so the majority of them, after they perform for the 25 minutes, they usually stow their instrument away and get to go enjoy the Philharmonic performance. Does anyone have any questions so far?
Do you offer anything for vocal programs?
It depends on the repertoire that we are working on. We are going to be doing Beethoven's Ninth in February. And so we have the opportunity to have our other um, co-conductor, Jeff Johnson. He could possibly do a workshop. Um, but unless we're engaging with a, choir of sorts, we we don't usually offer it, no. It's purely instrumental based. Yeah, we love Dr. J too. Mary Beth, where is your school at? Oh yeah. So for the concerts, again, we offer it free to high school and college students. They don't have to bring their instruments. In fact, it's not really encouraged because we want them to listen and just see how a professional orchestra conducts rehearsal, especially, a world-renowned conductor. Um, we do dream of having a side-by-side concert at some point. It just hasn't happened yet because, you can only fit so much in a season. Um, we do work with Central Kentucky Youth Orchestras. Sometimes our musicians will go and help with sectionals for them as well. We've had Melise come and talk to the various orchestras for CKYO. And then we've also had our composer in residence go and give a workshop, just, you know, how does he decide what kind of music they should play? Best example is Sean O'Pebolo wrote a piece of music like the anthem for Tates Creek High School this year. Um, the orchestra director was able to commission this work with Sean O'Pebolo through some grant writing through the schools. And they got to work side by side and figure out, okay, my top orchestra can play grade 4, grade 5, but I really want them to be able to, all of them to play it. So he settled for like a grade 3. Given this opportunity, Sean then created something that reminded him of his years at Tates Creek High School and thus wrote a composition or the anthem for Tates Creek High School for the orchestra program there. And so they will be world premiering it this spring at one of their concerts, which is just very exciting to me. Again, the pre-concert performances, I usually just send out an email not only to Fayette County, but surrounding counties, like who have an orchestra program, who have a band program. Um, and it's basically first come, first serve. So both opportunities, we offer comp tickets because, we want the use at the concerts. And since we have all of these opportunities, we are always looking for volunteers. And so I've partnered with a lot of the high schools around here and CKYO to provide opportunities for volunteering. Specifically for Music Lab, we have several events all year round. So I usually will send out a monthly Google form. And since it's a requirement in this area for high schoolers to have volunteer hours, this really works in our favor to use high school students. Same thing if they come to the concert to help with Music Lab, they also have the opportunity to have comp tickets. And then we are also looking for volunteers to just help with our one-off events, any concerts. Last year, EKU's SAI um, group was excellent about being wayfinders for us at Singletary. When we are at the Josephine Sculpture Park, we always need volunteers for Music Lab and for each section um, of the orchestra throughout the park. So, if you are looking for volunteer opportunities for your students, we love to have them help us. And then we have finally brought back the Discovery concert. We have not had the Discovery concert since 2019. I believe back in the day, students paid, I think, $5 to be able to participate in this. This year, I've written several grants and have reached out to several foundations and have been able to pretty much provide this at no cost. So it is a free concert for all. And I hate to say it, but as of the beginning of this week, it is sold out, even though it's free. But we were able to sell all 1,300 tickets to this concert. So they're doing excerpts from our American Stories concert, which includes West Side Story. Um, very excited to bring this back. Like I said, it hasn't been around since 2019. Um, and in fact, I think it was when Scott Terrell was still here. So I'm excited for Melise to do this for the schools. This year, we also revamped it to where it's only fourth graders, because that's about the time when you are thinking about doing band or orchestra in the school systems. So Fayette County, all of Woodford County fourth graders are coming. Um, the majority of fourth graders in Franklin County are coming. And so we're excited to bring this back. We are going to rotate this to an every other year event. And next year we'll do like a hub series. We'll come up with a better name, of course. But basically, we're going to travel, have the orchestra travel through each school feeder. And so we'll land at a high school, and then those elementaries and middles for that feeder program will come and attend a brief concert. So let's see. And that being said, here is my information. Um, my cell, you're welcome to call my cell. And here is my email address. Um, I would love to know more about your programs and any questions you may have. This is the time. Are there any orchestra or band programs on here?
I actually teach visual art. Sorry.
I teach middle
Oh,
school
that's
band.
awesome. Okay. I'm
I
going to
was
stop
in
sharing
band.
so I can see your faces. You were in band. Got it.
Yeah,
Understood.
back in the day, back in high school.
Band and choir. Nice.
Band and choir.
I'm elementary music
Audrey.
and can't sing.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Um,
I'm visual
Audrey, are
art.
you in Madison County?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I think I have heard your name. Don't you teach sectionals for CKYO sometimes?
Usually Lois will have me sub if she has to be out.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Yeah, I wear many hats. Not only do I work at the Lexington Philharmonic, I'm one of the conductors for the Bravo String Orchestra for Central Kentucky Youth Orchestras, and I adjunct for the College of Ed and the School of Music at EKU. So I still teach in some capacity, just not full time. But I started the orchestra program at Model. No, I don't sleep. That's okay. I like to be busy. Yes, I know Jill Campbell. Is that who you're referring to? Yes. Yeah, I know her very well. We were on a committee together for the Kentucky Department of Education. We helped rewrite or revise the visual and performing arts standards.
So you're some of those people.
That's me. Yes.
Man,
Bill and I were getting our masters at UK with Dr. J many years ago.
Oh, okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, she went through the doctoral program at UK, but like many years before I did. So I confided in her many of times. And yeah,